Hello and welcome to Research and Writing in the Digital Age. My name is Emma Pass. I'm an EdTech consultant, Google certified educator, trainer, innovator, the author of The Hybrid Teacher, and most importantly, I'm an English teacher myself. I teach 7th and 10th grade language arts at PSD Global Academy in Fort Collins, Colorado. We are a hybrid school, so I teach half of the time in person and then half of the time online. So using technology in my teaching is a huge part of my day-to-day work. In this session, we're going to look at research in the digital age, then writing, and then finally looking at how the new AI chatbot technology is going to influence both of these things. Let's get started with research in the digital age. Whenever I talk about research, the most important thing to start with is talking about credibility and how to make sure that you're finding credible sources online. This is probably more important than ever in the kind of post-fact era. And the first thing that you can always turn to when you're talking about credibility is using databases. And there's a good chance that your school or your library has access to databases. So I think those are great things to teach students about and to use. However, my main objective as a teacher is to prepare my students for the future that they're going into. And not a lot of people kind of in their day-to-day life have regular access to databases. So I focus on teaching my students how to use sources that they find on a Google search and to determine the credibility of those sources. You're going to have access to all of these slides. So if you'd like, you can start with some of these kind of hooks to get students interested in the topic of credibility. You may or may not have seen the website about the Pacific Northwest tree octopus, definitely better for maybe more of the 7th, 8th grade students. It gets less believable the older you get, but it's a totally fake website. And you can find different versions of this online. So I start by trying to convince my students of something that's completely fake and making the point that it's really easy to publish fake information online and pretty much anybody can do it. Then I show them this video. It's fun and funny about an internet troll who makes up fake emails and websites to troll people, in this case, SpaceX and Elon Musk. Then we look at this video, which is about deep fakes. So actually using AI technology to transform somebody's face into another face. So talking about kind of the depth and the ability to deceive online. And this one is pretty persuasive. It shows an actor transforming his face into Tom Cruise using deep fake technology. And then finally, this site is called thispersondoesnotexist.com. This is also AI generated. This is a completely fake person made by technology. This is not a real picture of a person at all. So I use this to emphasize, even if you see something online, seeing is not necessarily believing, because images can be manipulated and generated now too. I use all of that plus a little bit about ChatGPT, which we'll talk about in the third video, to kind of engage my students in this idea that the internet is a wild place and not everything, in fact, a lot of what you read cannot be trusted. So we need to build the skills to determine the credibility of the sources that we're researching online. One really great resource that I have for you to do this is an applied digital skills lesson on evaluating the credibility of sources online. Applied Digital Skills is a Google product. It's a Google platform, and all of their lessons are entirely asynchronous and video based. So you can assign this to your students as homework, or you can assign them an asynchronous class day for them to put on headphones or get in groups and do these video lessons together. The link is in the slide deck resource here, but when you go to it, it looks like this. You have a video lesson to watch. Then you can go next. Keep watching the videos and following along. And essentially what this lesson has students do is find an article online, and then it takes them through different steps of evaluating the credibility of the article using different methods. And then finally, it has them write a written response about whether or not the article is credible and why or why not they think that. So this is a lesson that I always use with my students. I think it's kind of hits all of the marks and the bases, and the best part about it is it's already prepared for you. If you don't want to use an asynchronous lesson, you can always use this as a resource to kind of go through and get tips and then do this with your students live rather in the video format. Once I have all of that foundation laid out, then I actually have my students start conducting research on their own online. And of course, there's a lot of ways to do that. As I mentioned, databases are great, but I tend to focus more on Google searches so that we can evaluate credibility of sources. And a really fantastic tip to make your research process easier through a Google search online is to use the Google search directly in Google Docs. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Drive. Go to New in the top left-hand corner. Go to Google Docs. And then right below me here, I have what's called the Explore tool. The Explore tool is in most Google products. It looks like this chat bubble with a star. This is AI integrated technology into Google products. When I click it, you'll see this column opens up on the right-hand side. And this is a Google search engine built right into your document. So I'll tell you a little bit about why I think this is a great tool through demonstration. Let's say we are researching World War II pilots. Now, you'll see, just like on a Google search, Wikipedia often comes up first. So you talk to your students about, wikis and why you might not use them as your actual resource. But once I start scrolling down, I have the RAF Museum or the National Museum. These start to look like more credible sites. Once I click this link, it's going to take me into a new tab, just like you would do on the web. And now from this tab, I can evaluate the credibility, look at the author, the publisher, do all of those good skills. And then if this is a resource I decide I want to use, I can now go and grab some of my facts. So in the research stage with my students, I let them copy and paste their facts into a research document. And then later we talk about paraphrasing or quoting or summarizing those facts in our actual document. But I'm going to go ahead and paste that fact there. And here's where doing this in the Google Doc is really, really handy, is next to that fact, I can now click this quotation mark button. And what it's going to do, it's going to put that little number 1 next to that fact. And if I scroll down, I have a fully formatted citation at the bottom in the footnotes. So this is amazing because it formats it for you. And then also it helps your students keep track of where they're getting that information from, so they don't end up having to go back and try to look through their search history or whatever else to find those sources. So kind of training them to do it this way is just a really kind of easy, effective tool. If you want to change the format of your citations, up at the top of your Explore here in the top right-hand corner, you click the 3 dots and you'll see you have MLA, APA, and Chicago style citations there. Now, of course, you can do this in a blank doc, or I often give my students a document that has tables built in, insert table, to help them organize their facts in. So maybe I'm asking them to categorize the type of fact. I might have them indicate what paragraph that information is going into, what main idea. So adding tables to your Google Doc is a really handy way to help students organize that research in the research stage. Go ahead and take a moment now to open up your Google Doc, find the Explore tool in the bottom right-hand corner, and play around with using the citation tool.